Good morning and welcome to Zoom with Czarny. I'm Dustin Czarny, Democratic Elections Commissioner for Onondaga County, and this is my interview show. On today's show, I have Corey Williams, who is the 3rd District Councilor candidate, Democratic candidate for Syracuse Common Council. He does have a Republican opponent this fall, so I decided to ask him to come on an interview for my little program here. And I'm really excited about it. It was a great interview. I think you'll see, what it's like to represent a brand new district, and what Corey is hoping to accomplish if he is elected to office. So please stay tuned for that interview. The machine replacement continues here at the Board of Elections. We are now on to the acceptance testing phase of that, which means the state board has come in. I talked about that in my Commissioner in a Car on Tuesday. Go check it out. I go into all the details about exactly what is going on at the Board of Elections. Next week, we start playing around with ballot creation and doing some testing to make sure that everything's ready for the general election. And it turns out we're going to be helping out Manlius with their town election as well, and maybe even Skinny Atlas with a town election after the general election. So these new machines are going to get a lot of use in their first couple of months. So we're really excited about that. But yesterday was National Poll Worker Day. So if you're thinking about becoming a poll worker, please go to our website, onvote.net. We still have a few classes left for this general election, but you can sign up. And if you're not, if you want to be in the queue for next year, you can sign up for that as well. So we're looking to recruit a lot of inspectors for next year. So if you're interested, please do so. Well, thank you very much and enjoy my interview with Corey Williams, 3rd District Councilor for Council Candidate, 3rd District Council Candidate for the City of Syracuse Common Council. Bye-bye. And we're back. I'm very happy to have my friend Corey Williams. Corey is the Democratic candidate for Syracuse Common Council District 3. He does have an opponent this fall, a Republican opponent this fall, and that's why I'm inviting him on our program here to talk about his race and who he is. Corey, thank you so much for coming on Zoom with Czarny.
All right. So Dustin, first of all, thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity. In terms of who is Corey Williams, I think I'm going to start out by saying I come from a Syracuse family. I am a 4th generation city resident. We can tie my lineage on Tip Hill to the late 1800s on my father's line and to the near west side in the 1900s on my mother's side. And while I was born and raised in the suburbs, I did move into the new 3rd District 16 years ago. I purchased my home 14 years ago and have really fallen in love with the area, with city life, and with the people that are here. In terms of my background, when I did move into the 3rd District, I moved in to be a graduate student at the Maxwell School at Syracuse University, like so many of our other great public servants in the area. Following that, I completed a doctorate in forest and natural resource management at ESF. After my graduate studies, I taught in the Department of Therapeutic Recreation down at Ithaca College. I was an adjunct professor down there, and essentially that's a program that trains students to use recreation to improve the quality of people's lives. And generally the target population are our, aging folks in our communities or people who have disabilities. And following that, I was presented with an opportunity in the Syracuse City School District, where I still currently work. I've been there for over 8 years. And when I was initially hired, I was hired to help document the district's response to the New York State Attorney General's office, because at the time we had been cited for disproportionately low academic outcomes for our students of color and students who have disabilities, and disproportionately high interactions of that same group of individuals with our disciplinary system. And so 8 years later, I'm still with the district. I work in our Office of Student Support, which means that I work with our social workers, our psychologists, and our counselors on a daily basis.
So you have a varied background, obviously a very intense background. You've shown a lot of different areas. But why are you running for public office? So what made you decide to enter the political arena at this time? This is your first run for public office, right? So why did you decide to run, and why the 3rd district?
So I take a lot of inspiration for my run from what I witness and observe in my job with the city schools every day. Working with our support services, I see the challenges of our students and of our families every day. However, at the same time, I see the passion with which parents and guardians advocate for their children. I see a community that gets behind these kids and tries to support them. And I see a number of really remarkable individuals, at all levels, in elementary, at the middle level, and in high school. And, I think about all the effort that folks in the district put in. I think about all the effort that I want to put in. And quite frankly, Dustin, I just want to do more. And that might sound a little bit cheesy, but it really is in fact true. I think about what's happening in our city right now with the 81 project and with Micron, and Syracuse is going to look very different in just a few short years. And, if we project that 8-10 years out, we're going to have a different city. And we are seeing population growth. We're seeing investment, financial investment in our community. And I want to make sure that our city benefits from this infusion of human and financial capital.
Syracuse is definitely going to change. But you know what else changed is the district you're running in, right? I mean, this is when we're talking to our district councilors, we already talked to the 4th district council, Patrona Jones, and you're both first-time candidates running in first-time districts. These districts were redrawn after 20 years with the Syracuse Independent Redistricting Commission. And so you're running in kind of a new district that kind of unifies the east side of Syracuse from the Salt Springs Road, kind of down through the university area. Generally the east side, the university and the east side are combined now for the first time. Tell me a little bit about that. What did that have any influence in you running, or in this newly created district, and what did you think about that recent event?
Yep. So I'm proud of the people of the city for voting for an independent redistricting commission. I think the folks on the commission did a really great job, and I'm thrilled that the council passed the new maps. In terms of where I sit, I used to be a resident of the old 4th district, which was more or less the city center, the urban core. And on any given evening when my partner and I walk our dog, or when we take a bike ride, we would pass from the 4th into the 5th and down into the 3rd. And so in our daily interactions, we would, pass through 3 different council districts. And, when I think about the neighborhood that I live in, I think that the new 3rd district does a really great job of kind of delineating that neighborhood. And so that absolutely did have a strong influence on why I wanted to run. And I think that it's a good opportunity to have cohesion on the east side, and to have one counselor really working towards the people of the greater university area.
Yeah, and I agree. Obviously, I was a big proponent of independent redistricting. I think the commission did an excellent job. It fused the neighborhoods together instead of dividing them. But this new district, hasn't been represented before. It's not being represented that way now. That that's all going to change after this election. But you're campaigning out in this district. So what are the needs of the 3rd Common Council District?
Yep. So I have really gone out of my way to attend community meetings to figure out what people are talking about. Started knocking on doors and meeting some of the voters of the community, going to neighborhood events, and really, like so many other races, so many other places within the city, people are talking about quality of life issues. People are talking about housing and affordable housing. People are talking about safety and security. People are talking about, trash in the streets and the beauty of the area. As you know, one of the main issues always of the East Side is deer, in terms of property destruction and in terms of Lyme disease. In our neighborhood, we've had a string of break-ins, and I've had folks show me video from Ring cameras of people walking up to their houses and peeking into windows, pulling on door handles. And so, these are a lot of the things that I've been hearing from folks. Another theme that comes up over and over is walkability and bikeability, and making sure that we have connectivity and safe routes to get from, for example, outer Comstock into the university. We already have the bike lane on Euclid, and so that thoroughfare, has a safe zone for pedestrians. But people want to see more of that. I have a whole list of issues. Every time I meet with the voters and they give me a new issue, I add it to this document on my computer. I'm already at 2 pages and counting, and there's a whole bunch of them there. And what I've been really, happy to see is that folks in this district, when you talk to them, they understand what a city councilor can do. And many of the issues that they talk about are in fact things that I can do in terms of helping them to navigate city processes, or talking about things that might be able to be proposed as legislation to the larger council.
That's I mean, the deer problem is an issue. I'm an East Sider myself, although I'm out of your district. I'm on the other side of Salt Springs, but deer is an issue as well. And you are right that we are obsessed with that in the East Side, and people don't realize just how big of an issue it is, especially people from rural areas I talk to, and they're like, you're concerned about deer? I'm like, yeah, you don't know. It's pretty problematic here, but and I also love that this district has both, some of the student housing from Lemoyne is in this district, as well as Westcott and University as well. This is quite a unified district when it comes to that. So you have a big transient population that is here for a short time. Sometimes they stay. We'd love them to stay more, but sometimes they move on. So you have a lot of landlord tenant issues in this neighborhood as well. You have a nice mix of people who've owned their houses, but I saw kind of go off on a tangent. I saw David Haas, who runs the Syracuse History Instagram, posting the other day about tons of parcels being bought up by an entity that seems to be linked to Lemoyne, and whether these are going to be unofficial, official student housing now, and these were single family homes. So that's an issue as well. So when you're elected, you'll be serving a 2-year term, and they say that the district councilors are really the constituent service councilors, where the at-large councilors kind of talk about bigger picture issues. Mm-hmm. Not that both can't do both, which they do, but what is your plan for your first term? If the voters were to put you in this fall.
Mm-hmm. So in terms of the way I view myself as a candidate, there isn't necessarily one single issue driving me to run. I'm really out to, to help make, the greatest amount of good for the largest amount of people within our city. I view myself as a generalist. And to a certain extent, I think that the agenda that I will develop will be informed by the constituents. However, I will say that in terms of my background and things that I've experienced in my life, I think one of the more important things that I would like the council to start talking about and addressing is climate change in terms of resilience and mitigation. What can we be doing as a city to help lower our emissions? And given the fact that climate change is a reality, what can we do to mitigate some of the impacts? I don't know how our infrastructure will be able to handle, more frequent, larger storm events with, tremendous amounts of water. We've seen all summer long record temperatures all over the country, all over the world. And, what are we going to do in order to combat some of the heat-related illness that we're seeing? What is our infrastructure in parks look like? Do we do we have more splash pads? Have we invested in our pools to make sure that they can be open on time? What are we doing about shade trees? There's a lot of different issues in terms, I think, under the greater umbrella of climate change. I think that there's a lot that we have to do and to think about as a city as we move forward.
Yeah, we do have a lot of change coming to our city. I'm a lifelong Syracuse resident. You brought up Micron. We have this municipal sidewalk program, which is something that's pretty big now. That is coming through. We have and I know Councilor Green, who's leaving the council, but our friend is talking about bus rapid transport. So there's a lot of issues coming to Syracuse and a lot of growth. What are your hopes for Syracuse over the next few years? What are you thinking that, what are some of the positive things that you think about our community and why people should think about moving to our community?
Right. Well, in terms of, the couple different projects that we see in front of us in terms of 81 and in terms of Micron, I think one of the things that's really important as we invest in the historic 15th Ward is to make sure that residents of the 15th Ward see some of the benefits of that project. And in terms of the new council district, the new third includes 15-5 and 15-8. And so part of the 15th Ward is within the third district. And so I feel, both a symbolic and, a very tangible importance to that project. And what are we going to do? I feel like we need to make a city that has a lot of opportunities for folks of different backgrounds, different socioeconomic points, and we need to make a city that's desirable for folks. We don't want to see all the expansion and all of the people coming to the area end up in the suburbs. We want to make sure that we can offer a city that people can be proud to say that they live in Syracuse. Arts and culture, I know, are an issue that is really important to you, and it's really important to me and a lot of other folks in the city. I want to see the expansion of small businesses and restaurants and opportunities for entertainment. And I've heard from folks about the permitting process and the speed with which that moves for the city. They want to see that sped up a little bit. I want to see clean neighborhoods. I want to see, there's an article today in the paper about playgrounds downtown. I think that what's important to me is that people feel like they're part of a community. And communities are made up by people, but I think that local government often provides building blocks to people to foster, sense of place, connections to the community, meaningful interactions. I think that Syracuse is on an upward trajectory, and I'm excited to be a part of what's happening here.
Yeah, it's definitely a thriving community now. I've been here all my life, so we've had our down points and our up points. I think we're definitely up on the swing again. Micron coming in promises to bring in 50,000 people into our community. Many of them are going to seek a urban setting to live in and drive up to Micron. So I do think that there's just not enough housing up in Clay and Cicero. They're gonna find homes here. We see a lot of multi-unit buildings being proposed, and not just student housing, although student housing seems to be on the pretty thriving around SU right now as well. So we're kind of getting towards the end of the program that around that time period that people like to listen for. So I like always to end with this question: what haven't we talked about? Here's your opportunity to say something about your personal life, something about your campaign, something about an issue that maybe we didn't touch on that you wanted to get out there. The floor is yours, Corey. What do you want the voters to know?
You know what? I'm actually going to share a quote, Dustin. So this is from the Oath of the Athenian City-State, which is one of the foundations of the Maxwell education. And part of the oath says, "We shall transmit our city not less, but greater, better, and more beautiful than it was transmitted to us." And I think that I really internalized that when I was a graduate student, and it's kind of stuck with me and stayed with me all of this time, because it truly is what we as public servants want to do. We want to make a better city. But I think that the caveat, which I'll add, and it's something that is really important to me, is I don't want a better city for the sake of the city. I want a better city for the people who live here. And I want the folks to have, a safer, a better, a more enjoyable experience. I think I said earlier, I want people to be proud of the city that they live in. And I want our city to continue moving forward and to provide opportunities for everyone, both in the 3rd district and citywide.
That's amazing. Corey, thank you so much for spending some time with us today. I'm going to put in the show notes every link to follow you, your website, your Facebook. And I know that you've already made yourself very available in your campaign to these community meetings, and you'll continue to do so. And so good luck in the fall. And I wish you a lot, I wish you well, of course, but thank you for making time. And also thank you for running for office. It's
Absolutely
not an easy thing. You're not going to be famous running for district councilor of the city of Syracuse or rich, but you are going to spend a lot of time helping your fellow citizens. And I find that admirable. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Dustin. I appreciate your time. And
that was my interview with Corey Williams, 3rd District Council candidate for City of Syracuse Common Council. It's just a fine new face to the Common Council running in a brand new district. So I hope the voters will hear what he has to say. Go to the show notes where his link to his website is in there. And I hope you follow along with him. Coming up later this week, on this weekend, I have my weekly wonk. That is, I did the town of Pompey this last weekend, and I'll be doing the town of Skaneateles, my alma mater, this next weekend. Zoom with Czarny next week will be with Mark Spatafor of the Greater Syracuse Labor Council. I thought I was going to do it this week, but I realized I got my time mixed up. So next week is Greater Syracuse Labor Council, Mark Spatafor. Going into the Labor Day weekend, I love talking to him. Right, but he's one of the foremost voices for labor in our area, and he's the president of the Greater Syracuse Labor Council. So there's no better time to talk right before Labor Day. And then next week's Commissioner in the Car will be on it'll be on our ballot testing that we're going to be doing for our new machines. And so stay tuned for all of that. And then soon I will be doing a Czarny seminar on how to register to vote. I think that'll be taking the place of a Commissioner in the Car sometime in September. It might be the first Tuesday in September. It might take the place of that if I can get that all worked out. So lots of stuff going on. Go to DustinZarny.com. You can subscribe for free, get an email on any content updates or election news. And that's all I got. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.